The rain on the prefab colony housing unit's roof was a soft, constant drone, a familiar sound after 12 standard years. Inside, the man sat in his favorite chair, a worn thing of real Earth leather he'd hauled across 6 star systems. A data slate glowed softly on his lap, displaying news from the core worlds. It was a quiet evening, like every evening. Then the quiet ended. There was no chime at the door. It simply opened, the secure lock blinking from green to disabled without a sound. The man was on his feet in an instant, the casual slump gone, replaced by the coiled readiness of a veteran. The figure that stepped through was not human. She was tall, her form elegant and subtly powerful beneath a simple dark traveler's cloak. Her skin held the faint luminescence of mother of pearl, and her eyes, large and expressive, were the color of molten copper. She pushed back her hood, revealing a crown of delicate, bone-like filaments that quivered with minute motion. The air grew still, thick with the scent of ozone and a fragrance like night-blooming flowers. He knew her. The last time he had seen that face, it had been on tactical displays. Then across a smoldering battlefield on Viridian 3, she was the synarch of the K3, the supreme ruler of a hive-minded, insectoid species humanity had fought to a brutal, grinding stalemate a decade prior. "You," he breathed, his voice steady despite the hammering in his chest. "Hello," she said, her voice a harmonic, melodic sound that resonated in the bones. The translator implant in his jaw conveyed the words perfectly, but it could not filter the profound, aching emotion woven through them. She looked around his small, tidy living space, her gaze lingering on a photograph of a mountain landscape, a dried flower in a simple pot, the well-used chair. Her copper eyes finally returned to him. "I missed you," she said, the words simple, devastating in their directness. "I missed you so much, human. Let us go back." He could only stare. This was the architect of the swarm fleets, the being whose strategic mind had nearly broken 3 human sectors. He had been a major then, a specialist in xenopsychology and asymmetric warfare. His unit had been tasked with a desperate gambit, a deep strike raid on the Synarch's mobile citadel during the height of the Battle of Viridian. The objective was not assassination, but psychological disruption to introduce a chaotic, illogical meme virus into the K3 command hive. To break their perfect collective coordination. He had gotten close. He had stood for 3 impossible minutes in her sanctum, facing her while his squad's tech expert jury-rigged the transmission. He had seen not a monster, but a ruler burdened with the weight of 1 billion minds, a consciousness so vast and lonely it had shuddered through his own psyche. They had not spoken. They had only looked at one another. In that silent exchange, he had seen the terrible cost of her absolute unity, and she had seen his solitude, his chaotic, individual, self-contained human mind, a mind that was only its own. The shock of that encounter, that recognition of utter otherness, had been the true virus. It had worked too well. The K3 coordination had fractured. The battle turned. The war ended in an armistice soon after, and now she was in his house. Go back where? He asked, his tactical mind analyzing exits, possible weapons, the alarming fact that his security system was utterly silent. To the moment, she said, taking a step forward. The light caught the fine seams in her chitinous skin. To the quiet, before the noise returned. Your singularity. It was a silence I had never known. In the we, there is only the chorus. 1 billion voices, 1 billion needs, 1 billion thoughts. It is purpose. It is strength. But it is never quiet. You showed me quiet. He remembered the reports. After Viridian 3, the Synarch had withdrawn. There were rumors of a schism, a reformation in the K3 hive mind, a new faction advocating for individuality, It had been dismissed as improbable propaganda. "You tore the we," she said, confirming his unspoken thought. "The idea you left behind, it was a crack. Then a rift. Affection has separated. We call ourselves the quieter choir. We seek to learn the way of the singular mind. But it is hard. So very hard. The old we calls to us, a siren song of effortless belonging. And I in the center of the schism. The noise is louder than ever." She seemed to diminish then, the regal presence folding in on itself. She looked, he thought with a shock, exhausted. "For 12 years, she whispered, I have managed the chaos. I have built walls in my mind to hold back the ocean of the we. But the only true quiet I have ever found was in those 3 minutes, standing across from you. Your mind was a still, dark lake. Mine was a storm. You were an anchor." He slowly lowered his hands, the immediate threat assessment shifting into something infinitely more complex. This was not an invasion. It was a refugee. "So you just left?" He asked. "Your people? Your choir? They are safe. They are hiding. And I am their guide, but I am lost." Her copper eyes held his. "I have spent a decade studying you. Your species. Your history of individuals banding together not out of biological imperative, but by choice. By friendship, loyalty, love, concepts we are struggling to birth. I have watched your films, read your poetry, analyzed your wars and your peace. I know the theory, but I do not understand the practice. I need a teacher, and you came to me. You are the only singular consciousness I have ever touched," she said. "The template for the quiet. I request asylum. I request companionship." The word hung in the air. It was a more shocking weapon than any plasma rifle. "You are the synarch of the Ka-3," he stated flatly. "If anyone finds you here, on a human frontier colony, the armistice will shatter. There will be panic. They might think it's a prelude to invasion." "I know," she said. "That is why I came like this, alone, unseen. My ship is disguised and hidden. I am no longer the synarch to the old we. To the quieter choir, I am a first listener. And to you, I wish to be a guest, a student. Perhaps in time, a friend." He looked at her, this impossible creature standing in his living room with rain dripping from her cloak onto the synthetic fiber mat. He saw the being who had commanded fleets. He also saw the being who had just confessed to a profound galaxy-sized loneliness. His soldier's mind screamed at the danger, the political cataclysm this represented. But the man, the one who had sat alone in this quiet room for years after mustering out, who understood solitude on a deeply personal level, heard something else. He walked to the kitchen unit, his movements slow and deliberate. He poured 2 glasses of water from the dispenser. He came back and offered one to her. She took it, her long, multi-jointed fingers careful around the human glass. The gesture was absurdly domestic. "You can stay tonight," he said, his voice low. "One night, we will talk. Then we must decide what to do. You cannot just disappear. Your people need you, and mine will be looking for a reason to be afraid." She took a small sip, a human gesture she must have studied. "Thank you," she said, and the harmonics in her voice softened. "For the quiet." He gestured to the other chair. She sat, folding her limbs with an unnatural grace. For a long moment, they simply sat in the dim light, the rain providing a curtain of sound around them. The galaxy with all its wars and politics felt very far away. "What is it like?" she asked finally. "To be just you?" He considered, staring into his water glass. "It's lonely sometimes," he admitted. "You have to make your own purpose. But the connections you choose, they mean more. They are not a given. They are a gift. A gift, she repeated, tasting the word. I would like to learn how to give one, and to receive one. Outside, the colony's warning sirens remained silent. The starships in orbit continued their mundane patrols. No one knew that in a small housing unit, a quiet revolution was being negotiated not with treaties or weapons, but with a glass of water and a moment of shared silence between two former enemies. The man knew the road ahead would be perilous. There would be explanations to give, channels to navigate, a galaxy's worth of suspicion to disarm. But as he watched the alien queen, a being of immense power and profound vulnerability, slowly relax in his chair, he understood the true heart of humanity. Fuck yeah. It was not about winning wars. It was about offering a chair, a glass of water, and a little quiet to a weary soul. Even if that soul once commanded the stars against you, the real victory was not in the fight, but in the peace that could follow, and the unexpected connections forged in its wake.